And I believe tomorrow's, I'm doing a plug already, tomorrow's is probably the most important that you're going to, of the set. Now this series that I am sharing with you is only shortened. I'm doing 5, but I actually have 8 because they only have me speaking 5 times. So I've tried to combine one and a couple together. Okay. Also, when you come, try to bring a pen or a pencil because you have worksheets every day. Okay. And this is a seminar, not a sermon. What's the difference? A sermon means I do all the talking. A seminar means interaction, and that's what it's going to be. I'm a teacher by training. I've taught for a long time, and so we're going to interact with each other as best as possible. So don't be shy, and I won't force you to do anything you don't want to do, but we're going to get a lot more out of it if we, in fact, interact with each other. Okay, so we've had prayer and everything. So let me get my clicker here. Okay. So, how to know whether you're witnessing or not? It's kind of a strange title, isn't it? You know, I have heard people tell me sometimes about their witnessing experiences, like I'm going to go witness. What's wrong with that statement when we say I'm going to go witness?
We're winging it.
We're winging it?
We don't know what we're doing.
We don't know what we're doing. Okay.
Probably the wrong motive, maybe.
Maybe motives? Well, here's a big truth. We're always witnessing. Always. Witnessing is not something you go and do. Witness is who you are. You witness at home. You witness to your husband and wife when you first get up in the morning. Uh-oh. The people that are not morning people are like, oh, I remember how I woke up this morning, right? Seriously. Witnessing is not something we do. Witnessing is who we are. Okay? And if you want to know who somebody is, don't listen to them. Watch them. Correct? Yes. Right. So we're going to get into all of that. And today we're going to look at effective and unfortunately defective witnessing. Because you can be a defective witness. Okay? So, okay, I got to make sure this arrow is just in the right place. Okay, let's see here. Oh, there we go. So our learning goals today, you have these already listed on your sheet right at the very top. So we're going to look at defective versus effective witnessing. We're going to define what the word witness means. Okay? And we're also going to take a lesson from Jesus about learning from the dove and the snake. Okay? And a very important principle there that we're going to tie it up with. Okay? So, to start with, we are going to take a look at evangelism fails. And what I want you to do is I want you, as you're watching this, see if you can spot any of the defective witnessing. Okay? So, let me see if this will work. There we go. Oh, where's the spot? Thank you, Lord. Provided. Hey, God bless you guys. Barista, what's going on? God bless you. Hey, how's it going, man? What's the normal, my usual?
Yeah, actually, we have a couple girls in line already. Might just need to move to the back, and I'll help you as soon as I'm done with that.
Sorry about that. Last week first will be last.
Dude, do you go to church at all? You go to church at all? So do you go to church at all? Hey, is this seat open? Hey, is this seat available? Do you just want to knock out some devos real quick? Spend some time with Jesus? I woke up kind of late this morning. Yeah, come on, let's go over. Let's go over. Let me sit down. I just want to share something from God's Word. He hit me up in my devos this morning. I was like, I got to share this. Genesis 1:1. Thirsty, huh? Get some water? Yeah, I know the living water. I was noticing that you're drawing some stuff over here. Back before, when I wasn't a Christian, I was making so much money as a graphic designer. You been born again? You been born again? Born again? And you need to go walking in the flesh. I mean, obviously, you don't really know God, your tattoos, and you got your hair and stuff. People start out the day by just repeating to yourself in prayer. The day doesn't even go that well. You're not realizing that there is a God. He sent Jesus to die for you. Why didn't you see that? And in chapter 28 of Deuteronomy, I just go to these crazy parties. It was crazy. Well, I mean, just cash and crazy. But I've left all that behind. Now I'm a Christian. You can't live life without God. He's not real. He's here. I can't see him. I'm just not getting through. God is real. Okay, you can't touch Africa, but Africa exists. I just have to say, I'm blessed. Too blessed to be stressed by the devil's mess. What's holding you back from living your life with Jesus Christ? It's probably the sin in your life is what's going on. Scared? Hell is scary. Not today. Not tomorrow. She's gonna die. You're gonna die. What do you think you're gonna do? Man, that sounded hot. I wonder how hot hell is. Hopefully you don't go there. Oh, this is good. The New Testament is so just applicable. Have you guys noticed this? Hey, you can be washed by the blood of the Lamb. I mean, so that you are justified, sanctified, future glorified. This is amazing. You got to come out. You drive a Volkswagen. Yeah, you got to do it. Regardless, man, you got to come to church. Hey, remember what I said? Hell, scary.
All right. Hopefully that does not embody any of you. Let's just pause for a second and let people in. I was wondering if we were going to run out of room. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Come sit up here. I might have to tell the powers that be we need more room. Come on in, folks. You're going to have to come up to the front. Quickly, quickly, please, quickly. Yeah, squeeze together. Pretend you like each other. Okay? Be a good witness, all right? All right. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Yeah. All right, so let's continue. Okay, so we're on page 1 at the bottom. And I want you to talk to the person next to you, okay? And I want you to discuss these 4 questions. So the questions are, what is the most awkward or regrettable witnessing catastrophe that you have seen, have been a part of, or have seen? What made it so bad? Okay, and then what are some areas of concern about witnessing that Seventh-day Adventists have? Okay? We're not good at this sometimes. So why is that? Okay? And lastly, why do these areas create problems? So I'm going to give you about 3 to 5 minutes to discuss these things, and then I'm going to ask for some volunteers to share some things, okay? So quickly discuss with the person next to you or a few people next to you about these questions. Run out of room.
Yeah, I expected that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I said to them, we need more room before, even yesterday. I said,
Yeah.
that's what we have right now.
Yeah.
But we'll see what we can do.
There's a spot here. There's a spot there. Just come on in. Yeah, I kind of figured when they showed this to me on Friday, I was like, tomorrow especially, like every person on the campground should be at tomorrow's because we're really going to dive into communication and why we are so bad at it, even with the people we love. Like it's a huge problem. And anyway. Yeah, and I was concerned about that as well. As soon as I walked in on Friday, I was like, yeah, that's not going to work. So.
You should have said no. It's already working. Don't take yes.
Okay, folks. Okay, let's bring it back. Let's bring it back. How many here have witnessed or been a part of or seen or actually participated in a regrettable or disastrous witnessing experience? How many here? Oh, yeah? Okay, good. I'm going to share one that I witnessed, but first I want to hear from a couple of you, okay? But it needs to be very brief. I don't want to hear your life story, okay? Okay, no offense. Okay, so somebody feel comfortable enough to share? You've been voluntold.
Okay, I've been voluntold. Pre-COVID, they were doing an evangelistic series in Red Deer Church area. And we went out, my daughter and I, to hand out the pamphlets to invite them, and they were the typical Adventist ones that had the dragon, and I'm sure you guys know which ones. It was a newer area. They were trying to target young families. And they thought we were a cult. They wanted nothing to do with it. It wasn't relatable to them. Maybe that will come. We want them to know that. But they have other issues at hand. Family, their faith, their understanding of God. So it just wasn't relatable to them.
Okay, good. Someone else? Right in the back there, in the back corner. Stand up, please. And
homeless ladies, who you can tell that were hungry. This church member, instead of going for their physical needs first, she went and she brought a book to give to them.
right.
For me, I was like, how about we feed them first, and then we go.
Right. Well, I'll tell you a story. When I was a young lad, I was probably only about 7 or 8 years old. We were having an evangelistic series in our church. And one night, now this, to give you some context, I was born in 76, so this was about 1982, 83, somewhere around there. 4 what we used to call punk rockers came into the church. One had a blue mohawk, and they had the jewelry, the leather jackets, the boots. If you're familiar with what I'm talking about. One girl, she had what I've only seen it once in person. It was in church. She had this, what's called a butterfly cut. And her hair went up into 2 wings right here as a butterfly. It used to be a punk outfit. Well, they came in. And they came in and sat at the back, 4 of them. I don't know what led them to be there. They were respectful. They were quiet. They weren't, causing a problem. Soon as those 4 walked in the back, every one of the church members that were in the back moved away from them. I'm not joking. And I'm sitting there as a child. I'm only, like I said, 6, 8 years old. And I said, this is wrong. Even then, as a kid, I was like, what's going on here? And you know what was the most ironic part? There was a guy in our church at that time. His name was Daniel. And Daniel was considered weird by the church members. He was the only one that talked to them after the service, out on the streets, and tried to encourage them to come back. But do you think they came back? Nope. That was the last time we saw them, right? And I remember that. I still remember as a kid turning around and looking at them and then seeing this wave of people get up and move away. It was crazy.
Maybe they want to make space for more.
Yeah, maybe the one to make space, yeah. So, I'm not going to get into that. Okay, so, what are some areas of concern that Seventh-day Adventists have when it comes to witnessing? Because every group of people, us included, have a subculture that we're a part of, and we need to recognize that. We need to be honest with ourselves about that, okay? And it happens, okay? So what are some areas of concern that we have in our subculture when it comes to witnessing? Anybody discuss this? Yes.
We think that we know it all.
Okay, that's a common thing. Yep, we think we know it all. What happens when we think we know it all? We turn people off. Let's get specific, though. How do we turn?
We argue because we think we're right.
Okay, we argue. We think it gives us license to argue. What else? We don't listen because why? Because we're right, and therefore we have nothing to learn from anyone else, right? Because we know we're the remnant. We keep the commandments, remember? Right? What other things come out of that? Yes?
We're too intimidating.
We're too intimidating. That's right. That's right. Yes?
We have our own advantage or our phraseology.
Yes. Did you pick up on that in the video? He was going with sanctified, justified, glorified, and the person's just like, are you speaking English? You know, like, what is that, right? Yes.
Sometimes we're insensitive.
Yeah.
When we have for example, state of the dead, if you're discussing this with other Christians, you make assumptions that when you tell them that people aren't going to, burn forever and ever in hell, that this is going to be such good news. And it turns out not to be, it drops like lead balloon.
Yeah.
You don't know what to do.
Yeah, you need to come to Thursdays about that. That very topic, I got into a big problem one time, and I thought what was going to be good news ended up not being good news. Yes. In the back here. Yeah.
We think that it doesn't apply to us. All this judgment only applies to others. You know, the sense of
Right. Yes.
We know how to pray so well, and our prayers goes direct to heaven.
Right. Yes.
I witnessed to a man that worked for me. I was his leader, and I ended up in an HR investigation. So it made me stop and think about what I was presenting and how I was saying it.
Right. Yeah. And that's something actually that we have to start becoming more cognizant of in the workplace and stuff. There's less tolerance for that kind of stuff and different things. So, yeah, I would just like to tell you something that you might find shocking. But this isn't anecdotal. This is something that was actually studied out. They're Seventh-day Adventists. We are second worst at witnessing. There's only one church that is less effective than us in North America, and it's Roman Catholicism. And then it's us. When I saw that statistic at seminary, this wasn't done by some other church group, this was done by us, I was shocked. And then I was doubly shocked that our methods of evangelism, which, by the way, is a subculture in itself. We're going to have 4 or 5 weeks of meetings, and people are going to come, and we're going to become their friends. They're going to trust us. They're going to accept the truth and be baptized in 5 weeks.
Amen.
Yeah. No! Those days are over, folks. Those days are over. That's a subculture. And I went to seminary back in 2012, and even then our research was showing that it was a very poor effective method of doing things. But we had studied a rare type of witnessing that a few Adventist pastors were doing, which I'm going to teach you, called the dialogical method, and it was found to be over 90% effective. And my thought sitting in the classroom was, well, then why are we doing more of this than the dialogical method? And the dialogical method was something I'd already been doing. Let me just throw out a statistic for you. The Voice of Prophecy puts out the Discover Bible lessons. Do you know that if a person requests Discover Bible lessons and they just do it strictly through correspondence, only 1 in 87 people that make that request complete the course? If you have somebody giving those Bible studies to another person, only 1 in 26 complete. Now, you remember I told you last night, if you were in the meeting at the promo, that I was using Discover Bible lessons. Well, Voice Prophecy came to do a workshop in my conference when I was a pastor, and he was throwing out these statistics. And I went up to him and I said, I don't understand. I said, I've already tracked it. My completion rate with people is 98%. He says, what? I said, well, yeah, if I have 100 Bible studies, 98 people will finish. He says, that's impossible. We've never seen anything like that before. So I'm just saying that not to promote myself, but to get you to keep coming back here. What's the difference? What's the difference? So let's keep moving on here. Okay, come on. Okay. So I'm going to give you 60 seconds to generate as many one words to describe a witness. Okay, you have a box there. You can write it in. Make sure you bring a pen and a pencil every time you come here, because you're going to get these every week. So on your mark, get set, go. You have 60 seconds. Right in the top corner. You can write the words down the sides if you have to. You got 30 seconds left. As many one words that describe a witness. Oh, all right, the 60 seconds is up. All right, let's just hear from some people. Just give me one word.
Kind.
What's that?
Kind.
Being kind, okay. Genuine. Loving. Listening. What? I thought witnesses always just talk. What? Lifestyle. Yes. What's that? Your character, yes.
Experienced.
You're experienced. What do you mean by experience?
You experienced something. So Paul,
Oh, okay, yeah, very good.
you have no witness if you haven't experienced the things that he witnessed about.
Right, yes. Empathy? Empathy, yes.
Action.
Reflecting, good. What else?
Smile.
Smile, what? Christians are supposed to smile? Are you kidding me? What?
Humor.
I thought, humor, very good. We're going to talk about humor tomorrow and how it is an effective. Do you know that when you meet a person for the first time, I'm going to talk more about this tomorrow. Studies have shown this, and the communication experts, that when you meet a person for the first time, if they chuckle with you, even if you haven't said something funny, that is a subconscious indicator that they want to connect with you. Right? And I can tell you, there are people I met on this campground. I'm always kind of being a little foolish sometimes in my talking with people, just to try to get them to ease up a little bit. And there's a few people here, and they start laughing. But there was one guy yesterday. I tried twice with him. And he showed me, I have no desire to connect with you. So the conversation just ends right there, right? Sour lemon Christians.
Or you don't know what's going on with them.
Right. That is true, and we need to be understanding, but and we'll talk more about that tomorrow. However, generally speaking, you could at least crack a smile, right? You could crack a smile. We'll talk more about that. Okay, so just on your own here, come on now. No. Sorry, folks. This is usually working well. So we have here, write a one-sentence definition. If someone were to ask you in one sentence what a witness is, write that down. What would you say? What would you say a witness is? We're going to write it down first and then ask. Oh, yeah. Bring pens and pencils when you come. And don't do the quick method and go to Google. What's a witness? And then write down the answer. I've done this seminar several places, and then I'm like, where did you get that anyway? Dictionary.com? No. What do you think a witness is? AI, right? Yeah. That's the latest one. All right. Who thinks they have an awesome definition of a witness? You think you do? Go ahead.
A witness is someone who shares experiences that they've had.
A witness is someone who shares experiences what they have. Okay, good. Someone else?
To connect with someone for the purpose of blessing them. To connect with someone where they are, meet them where they are.
Meeting them where they are to bless someone. Good. Right. Yes, in the very back here.
An individual who consistently seeks out opportunities to build relationships with others and ultimately leads to Jesus Christ. No, I wrote that.
All right, somebody in the back there, do a search history on that phone, okay? No. All right, good, very good. Well, the Bible has a lot to say about a witness, okay? And what it means to witness. Oh, Pastor Potts.
We apologize for the cramped quarters this afternoon and each morning going forward. We'll be meeting in the tea house, which is just across the way. So there'll be lots of room for everybody. We're going to tough it out here this morning, but for the rest of the week, we'll be over there.
And someone will have to tell me where the tea house is, because I would hate for you to come and not be there, right? So thank you, Pastor Potts. All right. Hey, and by the way, I've got homework for you. At the end, you're going to witness about these meetings. And I want you to bring somebody with you. It's going to be good practice, okay? We'll talk more about that, okay? So here we have these texts, okay? And I hope that you have a Bible on your phones or something like that. Now, rather, for the sake of time, rather than every person looking up every verse, okay? This is on your sheets, folks. Yeah, everything you need is on your sheets, okay? So what I want you to do is I'm going to ask different rows to do a different verse, okay? So this row, do number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? And then 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? So see what these verses have to say about being a witness, okay? And write your answer down. 8, 9, 1, 2. 2. You're 1 and they're 2, yeah. Did you want to sit here? All right, let's bring it back together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask each row, or maybe a couple people from each row, but each row to read your verse, okay? And then to tell us what that verse has to say about being an effective witness, okay? So we'll start right here. You got... Okay. Okay, make sure you speak good and loud, whoever the spokesman is, good and loud for everyone to hear. Okay, so Proverbs 12:17, what does that say?
An honest witness tells the truth, but a false witness tells lies.
Okay, so what does that tell us about being a witness?
Well, we just kind of had different ideas, but we thought, well, someone that's witnessing is also is witnessing God's power in your life. It's experiencing Jesus. So how can you tell a lie if you experience God? So maybe when you tell lies, it's because we haven't really had that encounter with God, where we talk about theory, and it can be words, truth. So
Okay.
it's to do with experiencing God and witnessing His power in your life.
Okay, good. Witnessing God's power. Now, I believe this row had the same one, right? Number one? So, yeah, so you don't need to reread the text, but what did you guys get out of that?
Yeah, well, one of the things we got is that a false witness is actually defined as being deceitful and not declaring the truth. So it's a negative impact by being a false witness.
Can we be a false witness that way and being deceitful? Can you think of something that we might do that would be deceitful in our witness as Seventh-day Adventists? Can you think of something specific? I can think of several. Anyone think? Yes. What about evangelistic campaigns?
Try not to use these words, or we will get people to one event and then we tell them, okay, now we're moving to this other venue.
Right.
To me, that was not very honest. For me, it's just like, this is who we are.
Yeah.
This is what we are here for.
Okay, good. Yes.
A false witness, that if I'm trying to be kind and tell people we're kind, and then after we sit and gossip, and that's been a false witness to me. One of the
Adventists,
most dangerous
Adventists don't gossip and slander, do they? What?
Last night I went to sit by him. I said, "Can I sit by you?" I said, "I hope your wife doesn't see me." I'm his wife. And I said, "All the people are going to be talking now."
Yes. Yes.
As Seventh-day Adventists, we kind of stand behind the principle that the Sabbath is our license to heaven, and anybody who's a Sunday keeper, they're on the outside, and you're someday going to have to deal with that. Yeah, so Sunday keepers.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about when we're in a grocery store and we push in through line, or we're driving in a car and somebody annoys us? We're always witnessing wherever.
And we've got a sign saying Jesus loves you.
Yeah, Jesus loves you.
I have seen two Adventist employees screaming at each other, using the F word at each other, and feeling okay about it. And then telling me about it and expecting me to take one or the other side. And I'm sitting there still trying to process what you're telling me, right? Yes.
We had a situation in our church once where we were doing evangelism, and it started out in a hotel. And then the evangelist got up and said, well, we're
we're no longer able to use this room, but the kind friends at the Adventist Church
Yeah.
have allowed us to use their building. It turned so many people off. There were people who were thinking of baptism and turned around.
Yes. It's one of the things I've heard that many times. I remember as a child being at an evangelistic series, and the evangelist, when it came time for that transition, so we were actually doing it in a university hall is where we were doing this evangelistic series. During the 1988 Olympics, I remember that because Ben Johnson got caught for steroid use during that series, right? Anyone old enough to remember that? So I was just a kid then, 12 years old at the time, or almost 12. Anyway, I remember the evangelist standing up and saying to everybody, this is what he said. This is literally, think about how this primed people. He said, now I'm going to tell you something that's going to make some of you mad and some of you glad. And then he went into a thing about the Sabbath and different things like that, and we were moving to the Adventist church right now, and like you said, turned a bunch of people off because, we were acting under false pretenses, right? Absolutely. I think I saw a hand over here. Yes.
I think we are being deceitful and defective witnesses if we are not living in our own lives what we are trying to tell
Right.
them or share to them.
Yeah.
And the best method of witnessing is Christ's example.
Yes.
If you read the steps to Christ, you will know how Jesus drew people to him instead of turning them off.
Right.
Every single person that he talked to were drawn to him.
Yes. Yes. All right, last one. Yeah.
Yes, do you think that all of this dishonesty is partly because we're kind of afraid of all the people, other denominations, that we're going to be persecuted? My father was not an Adventist, and he threatened to kill us on a regular basis because we were Adventists, right? So I'm wondering if that plays into our deceptive ways, because we assume that the people that we're talking to, if they're not Adventists, they must be against us. We must have to protect ourselves or trick them in some way because we assume that they're evil, or you know what I mean?
Well, I don't think that's the case. I think it's more the case that we don't want them to be turned away too early because of misconceptions of Adventism. But then what we do is we basically teach them that we're liars.
Yeah.
So we're kind of trying to prevent one thing, but we end up making it worse, right? I hesitate to tell you what I'm going to tell you. But I'm honest in my dealings with people. So when I went to the seminary, I met a couple there. I actually used to babysit her. Her name is Rena. And I met her husband, Derek. And Derek and I became good friends, best of friends, while we were at seminary. And we both enjoyed playing hockey. So you guys know Pastor Derek Richter, right? So he can confirm this story. This happened. So Derek and I, Andrews has an ice hockey team. So we decided to go to the first practice. It was just show up, and it was every Friday was practices, Friday afternoon in South Bend. So Derek and I went together to hockey. We walked into the dressing room, and most of the other guys were there, and they, right away, they were asking us who we were, where we come from, where were we studying. And as soon as we said we were from the seminary, no one wanted to talk to us. And Derek and I picked up on it right away. Like, it was like all of a sudden. So we were like, okay. So we got dressed, went out, and we practiced the first practice. We practiced a bit, but then we'd play a scrimmage. And then when we were done, we went back in the dressing room. And then they opened right up to us and welcomed us. And they said, yeah, we were kind of cold with you because we generally don't want pastors or pastors in training on the ice hockey team. Because we have found they're the most unsportsmanlike, most unchristlike people in the university. The last pastor, who was the associate pastor of the village church in Berrien Springs, was cursing and threatening the referees, using the F word and everything like that. Their experience with pastors was very negative. In fact, us at the seminary were not allowed to participate in the intramural program at Andrews the entire time Derek and I were there. We were banned from university sports and everything because. So how do you think we were as pastors in training as witnesses? So Derek and I decided that we needed to try to change the conversation, right? Try to change, and that's what we did. And then so on the last, so every year they had an awards program at Andrews for sports awards. And they knew Derek and I were leaving, and Derek and I got the 2 highest awards from the university for the ice hockey team. And so we went from, they didn't even want us in the dressing room, to sad to see us go kind of thing, right? But we couldn't do that by telling them we were good guys. They had to see it. And I'll tell you, it was hard sometimes. I remember we were playing Notre Dame one night, the University of Notre Dame, we were playing one night, and a guy punched me right in the head. Right in the head. And I didn't retaliate. I didn't do anything. Another guy hit me from behind. There was one guy that kept hitting me every Friday. Being as dirty as I'll get out, never said a word to him, never retaliated, never nothing. And at the end, they gave me the leadership award, and they said, you led this team through your example and everything. I was shocked. I was floored. It's one of the things that I've treasured the most over the years and so on. And it was just by realizing that wherever you go, you are a witness. Don't forget that. Even with your children. Especially with your child. I've worked with young people exclusively for the last 13 years. And I could tell you heartbreaking stories of religiously vigilant parents that have done more damage than they've done good, right? And we're going to talk about that as the week goes on. Okay, let's move on to number 2, this row here. So what someone read the verse and then tell us what you think it means.
A trustworthy witness will not lie, but a false witness utters lies.
So what do you get out of this?
We put down that a witness needs to tell the truth, but you can't just say, we have the truth.
Right.
But be honest and trustworthy in what you're saying.
Okay, being honest and trustworthy. Number 2 is back here. What did you guys say about that verse?
Basically the same thing that, the truth will set you free. We have to be honest, and we're going to build their trust with them if we're truthful.
Right. Here's a good thing. If you've never heard this expression, write it down. Honesty without kindness is cruelty. Honesty without kindness is cruelty. Okay? Just because you have the truth or just because you want to be honest with someone doesn't mean you need to say anything. Right? That's been a hard lesson for me to learn because I'm a truth teller. I'm a straight shooter. Right? I am. What you see is what you get. Right? Which some people find refreshing and other people can't stand. Right? But I've come to realize that not everybody wants you to be honest, if you know what I mean. So I've learned when people ask my opinion, and I know it's going to be something that's possibly incendiary, I'll say, are you sure you want my opinion? And they'll say, well, of course, why not? What if I say something that, and I've had people say, you know what, never mind. I've had young people ask me about, would you be a reference for me for summer camps? Are you sure you want me to be a reference? And like, why? I said, because I'm going to tell them the truth about you. Never mind, Pastor Brown. Okay? Right? Honesty without kindness is cruelty, right? So, and we're going to talk about how you can be honest with people. That's why tomorrow's is so important. How you can be honest with people without turning them off. Okay? All right, number 3. This row here. Someone want to read that for us, please?
A truthful witness saves lives, but one who breathes out lies is deceitful.
Okay, so what did you get from that? We're getting the same ideas here, right? But a witness does what? They save lives, right? It means they do good things. They're helpful. right? They save. And you know in the Bible, the words save and heal are the same words? The word in Greek is sozo. So anytime you see that the word save or salvation in the New Testament, do you know that the word can be replaced with healing? Because it's the exact same word. We need to be healing people.
This translation says the true witness delivers souls, which is really
Yes. Yes, deliver souls, which means people need delivering, right? Yeah. Number 5. Now we're out of Proverbs. We're into, number 4. Number 4, we're into Isaiah. So somebody read that for us in the 4th row. Don't be shy.
Okay. Okay, chapter 43, verse 12. All right. I have declared and have saved, and I have shown when there was no strange God among you. Therefore, ye are my witnesses, saith the Lord, that I am God.
There you go. And so what's that say?
Well, we had a number of things. We were saying that a witness declares, saved, and shown, and we were saying that God was a witness originally to people about himself. And then we were saying that having no strange God among them made them a witness because they already had that lifestyle and that relationship with God.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Good. Very good. All right, next one, number 5. We've got to speed up a little bit. Someone on the 5th row, don't be shy.
Can I add verse 7 as well?
Yeah, go ahead, for sure.
Proclaim as I do, then let him declare it and set it in order for me. Since I appointed the ancient people, and the things that are coming and shall come, let them show these to them. Do not fear, nor be afraid. Have I not told you from that time and declared it? You are my witnesses. Is there a God besides me? Indeed, there is no other rock. I know not one.
Good, thank you. So what is that saying? Somebody's having a witness on the phone there. I don't know. Somebody really wants attention. Okay, go ahead.
It's a pretty high and exalted thing when you're witnessing God.
Yeah.
And we need to realize
Yeah.
that's not a small thing.
You know, I'll tell you a story. When I was, I don't know what grade I would have been, maybe grade 3. The province of New Brunswick celebrated their bicentennial, their 200th year anniversary, and they invited Queen Elizabeth to come. And she came to my city, Moncton, New Brunswick. And so all the schools were let out to go to her coming and addressing and so on. And so we were all bused to this big park in Moncton, every elementary school in the Moncton area. It was just full of kids and teachers, right? Well, my dad was a public school teacher. And my dad decided he would do something for the Queen. He dressed up as an old English loyalist in loyalist clothing, which he had, right? And wanted to be a representative of what it was like to be a part of the British monarchy and so on. Do you know she stopped and talked to him? She spotted him in the crowd and told him to come over. And as she walked by all like down whatever when she was done her address to us. She walked right like from me to whatever. But then my dad, I could see him in the white wig, you know, those white wigs, and he had the whole thing that he had gotten from my grandfather. And she spotted him out of all the teachers and everything, and she took time to talk to him, right? Because of how he carried himself. And you know, when you represent somebody, whether it's a company, your family, right, or whatever, it's a honor and a privilege. It's a trust people are putting in you, right? And God is putting his trust in you and me. Isn't that a crazy thought? We often talk about how we have to have faith in God, but God actually has faith in us. You realize that? That was a mind-blowing thought to me when I realized that a number of years ago. God not only wants me to have faith in him, but he has faith in me. Wow. Wow. And some of you are saying, no, he doesn't. No, he does. Every one of you, right? I'm not special. I don't have a unique. He has faith in you. All right, so let's go on to Isaiah 44:8, number 5. Somebody read that. Oh, we did that one? Oh, sorry. Acts 1:8. Sorry, Acts 1:8. Go ahead.
You shall receive power when the Holy Spirit has come upon you, and you shall be witnesses to me in Jerusalem, and in all Judea and Samaria, and to the end of the earth.
Okay, and what's that say?
In a court law, you can't be a witness unless you've actually observed what happened.
Right.
And so when we experience something, the Holy Spirit will empower us to be an effective witness to what we've experienced.
Very good. Let me ask you something. You know how there were 12 apostles, and then one hung himself, denied Jesus, and then they picked Matthias, and then Paul later became an apostle? Do you know what the number one qualification was for an apostle? What was the number one qualification? What? Oh, lots of people knew Jesus. Remember, 500 people saw him, after the resurrection. Lots of people knew him. He had lots of disciples. He didn't just have 12 disciples. He had hundreds of them. Okay? To be willing to follow. Well, all the disciples are willing to follow. What made the 12 different? Well, they were filled with the Spirit, but so were, it says everyone in the upper room was filled with the Spirit. They left what they had. Well, a lot of others did too. It goes along with what the gentleman in the back was saying. An apostle had a unique experience with Christ, that he had a living witness of his post-resurrection. And that included Paul. Remember, he appeared to Paul on the Damascus Road, said, Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me? To be an apostle was to know the post-resurrected Christ in a personal way, to have an experience, right? That was unique, that was personal. Jesus appeared to all of them in the upper room and so on. Okay, good. Let's go to Acts 10:39 and 41. Who would like to read that?
Acts 10, verse 39 and 41 says, "And we are witness to all things which he had both in the land of the Jews and in Jerusalem, who they killed by hanging on a tree." Verses 41, "Not to all the people, but to witnesses chosen before by God, even to us who ate and drank with him after he rose from the dead."
Yeah, you hear that? Those who did what with him? Ate and drank with him. So if that's what it took to be a witness, what were they to be to other people? Eating, drinking, spending time with people, maybe even sitting down with people who are drinking things that you don't approve of? What? Are you serious? Oh, yes. I have lots of stories about, I've got lots of friends that we sit down together and they all drink beer and I drink pop. Right? And you say, what? They can't contaminate me. I'm trying to make them better, not the other way around. Right? I have lots of stories about that. I still do. Doesn't intimidate me, doesn't bother me. If I can't go to them, what hope do they have? Right? Okay. All right. Let's go to Colossians. So over here, Colossians 4:6. Don't be shy. Let's go.
Let your speech always be with grace, seasoned with salt, that you may know how you ought to answer each other.
All right, so our speech is supposed to be seasoned with grace. What does that mean? What does it mean to be seasoned with grace? Gentle, kind, yeah, considerate. Folks, you either look at life and people through one of two lenses. There's only two options. Now, I don't usually like binary thinking like that. I don't find life is that simple, but there are certain things that are binary, and this is one of them. You either look at people through the lens of the law, or the lens of love? One of the two. Okay? Well, how do I know which one I do? Well, how judgmental are you of other people? When you think of other people, if somebody brings somebody up, are you wanting to tell them something about that person that's not good? You know? Are you critical? Are you difficult? Do you have an us versus them mentality? Would you not be able to sit down with somebody having a beer? Would you not be able to sit down with people who are drunk or high? I have. But you know what? I ended up baptizing those people.
Amen.
Right? They didn't change me. I changed them. You say, well, God changes people. Yeah, well, God doesn't appear in the room. I'm there on his behalf. Okay? So when you look at people through the law, and we do this with our kids too much, are you saying that our kids can just do whatever they want? Absolutely not. That's not what I'm saying. I have 2 wonderful kids. I have 2 grandkids. And I don't believe they can do whatever they want, but my approach, do I see them through the lenses of grace and love, or do I see them through lenses of law and judgment? Okay? And I want you to think on that in your own personal experience, because you have to have that shift or you're not going to be a good witness. Okay, last one. 1 Peter 3:15, my favorite of all the bunch that we're reading here.
Okay, that's last year. It says, but sanctify the Lord God in your hearts, and be ready always to give an answer to every man that asketh you a reason of the hope that is in you with meekness and fear.
Yes, so what does that say about being an effective witness?
Yes, first of all, we identify that we have to have understanding of what people are going to ask us, and be ready to share that, and share it with humility and respect.
That's right. Humility and respect. You know, that word, be prepared to give a defense, that word in the original language in the Greek there is apologia. What does that sound like, apologia? To apologize. In the Greek, it means to give a reasoned defense. To give a reasoned defense is what that means. So when people do ask you questions, be prepared with humility and fear. Fear, I thought, why doesn't it say humility and love? Why is it saying humility, but especially fear? What should we be fearful of? Yeah, that we misrepresent, that we say the wrong thing. But folks, don't be too fearful that you don't say anything. Here's the golden rule of all human relationships. Treat others the way you want to be treated. It's just that simple. Jesus summarized the whole Old Testament. He said, this is all the law and the prophets. Do unto others as they would have do unto you. As you would have them do unto you, rather. It's just that simple. If you use that as your guiding principle, what would I want this person to say to me or not say to me if I was asking them this question? It's a very, very simple thing. But we fall down on it so often.
I think there's a key also in that. This text, it says, a person that asks you, often we're so busy spewing out what we know that they're not asking.
Right.
We need to be very discerning.
Right. Yes. Yes, God gave us 2 of these and 1 of these. We'll talk more about that tomorrow. Okay, I want to move along here. We only got just over 10 minutes left. So it says, Christ's methods alone. Now, this is the famous quote you hear in every witnessing seminar done by an Adventist, but it's always lifted out of context. Did you know that? Yes. It's always lifted out of context, so I want to give you the context. Take a look. Christ's methods alone will give true, now did you notice this? True success. So is it possible in our evangelistic activities then we must be able to have false success? I'll talk more about that as the week goes on. So Christ's method alone will give true success in reaching the people. The Savior mingled with men as one who desired their good. He showed his sympathy for them, ministered to their needs, and won their confidence. Then he bade them, follow me. Most Adventists are like sick of seeing that because they've seen it so much. But it's the context I want you to see. Look at the context. She says this, there is a need of what? Coming close to the people by personal effort. Does that happen in an evangelistic series on a stage with this evangelist going on? Is that what's going on? No, there's nothing wrong with that, folks. That's what I wanted to do in ministry. Still do. It has a place. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you think that's the beginning and the end all of effective evangelistic work, no, that's the capstone. This is the important thing. If less time were given to what? We Adventists love sermonizing. We love sermons. Oh yeah, I'm going to just give you a little secret that most pastors won't tell you. Preaching is the easiest thing we do. That's not hard work. Working with people is the hardest thing we do. Okay? Seriously. Preparing a sermon, I'm by myself, in my room, undisturbed, preparing. Then I'm up front, by myself, speaking. That's easy stuff. Dealing with people, right? So this is hard work. And more time are spent in personal ministry. How much results? Greater results would be seen. The poor are to be relieved. So she defines what that means. The sick cared for. The sorrowing and the bereaved comforted. The ignorant instructed. The inexperienced counseled. Isn't that interesting? We're not done yet. There's another page. You have this, by the way, in your quotes with blanks. You're supposed to fill in the, right? We are to weep with everything that's here is in your thing. You know, I see people taking pictures on the screen. You don't need to do that. Just fill out the thing, right? We are to weep with those that weep and rejoice with those that rejoice, even if you don't think it's a big deal. And if you're a good parent, you do this all the time with your kids. They're really proud of something and whatever else, and you think it's just like, okay, you know, they built a sandcastle with one bucket of sand, and they're so thrilled by it. A good parent is thrilled too and shows it. I'll have more to say about that as the week goes on. Accompanied by the power of persuasion, the power of prayer, the power of the love of God, this work cannot be without fruit. That's the full context of the statement. You have to get roll up your sleeves and get your hands dirty with people if you want to be effective. Honestly, you got to get in their space. You got to be in their atmosphere. Trust is only gained by spending time with people. The truth is not enough, folks. We have this lie that we think, well, if we disseminate people correct knowledge, that is enough. No. You have to embody that, and for them to see you and to spend time with you. I'll have a story at the end about that to show you how effective this is. Oh man, we are running out of time, but I think we got time for this. Let's do this. Listen to this.
Testimony goes back for 4 highly predictable reasons. 3 of them are psychological based. The 4th one is actually legally based. So let's go over the psychology based ones. Cognition. If a witness does not listen as carefully as they need to, and they don't think and process as carefully as they need to, they're going to make what we call cognitive errors. They're going to make natural occurring errors because they're not hearing the whole question, they're not processing the whole question, and they're going to miss a key word in that question that changes the whole question, and they usually either answer a different question, which leaves them vulnerable, or they inadvertently agree with something the questioner says that's not always true. So we have to train witnesses to use their brains much differently, not to use their workplace or their social brain, but to use what I call their deposition brain or the courtroom brain. They have to listen and think very, very differently than they would at work or at home. And then secondly, behaviorally, most depositions are videotaped now. And if you behave poorly, meaning you look like you're in front of a firing squad, or you look like you're angry and frustrated and don't want to be there, a jury may see that videotape one day. So behaviorally, we have to train witnesses to maintain their professionalism, to maintain their poise, to maintain the proper body language and facial expression and posture. So if a jury ever saw the video, the jury would still find them as credible witnesses. And obviously for trial, if they're in front of a jury and they don't appear like they're behaving professionally because they feel threatened by a plaintiff attorney, that's going to be a huge, huge problem. They're going to lose credibility with jurors. Third, and which I think is most important, emotionally. When witnesses are baited into going into a fight or flight response, they're either going to try to run and hide, which does not look good for your credibility as a witness, or they're going to try to fight and argue, which looks just as bad. So again, a proper scientific neurocognitive training program can make that witness maintain their poise, not take the bait, use the logical part of their brain at all times, and not get into more of a subcortical fight or flight response. And then fourth, strategy. If the witness is not prepared strategically on where to go when they get attacked, they're going to leave the roadmap. They're going to leave the roadmap and they're going to say something that leaves themselves and probably the company, the client as a whole vulnerable.
So that gentleman prepares people for depositions, and he has to prepare them cognitively. What was the second one? Behaviorally. What's the third one? Emotionally and strategically. And so throughout this week, we're going to be talking about those four things because the Bible addresses those four things when you're a witness. Cognition, you have to be thinking right. And he says to think right and to answer right, you have to listen. Did you notice that? So we're going to talk about listening. Also, we're going to talk about our behavior, how we carry ourselves. Even our body language communicates something, correct? Right? And then emotionally, remember, fight or flight. You ever see a witnessing event go into a big argument? Yeah, it's happened, right? And lastly, a strategy. Yes, you need to be strategic when you're dealing with people, right? Without looking strategic. Okay, it takes time, all right? So Matthew 10:16, Jesus says that he tells us, come on now, therefore be as wise as serpents and harmless as doves. We don't have time to flesh this out as much as I'd like, but the question is, why did Jesus use the metaphor of a snake and a dove for personal witnessing? And how can we be like a snake and a dove in our relationships with others? So I have to wrap this up, so I'm going to just give you the answer this time. If you know anything about serpents or snakes, they wait for their prey. And when their prey comes close, they strike. And Jesus uses a snake here to say, when you are a witness, you need to be like a snake. You need to be opportunistic. You need to have your eyes open, ready. Because a witnessing opportunity can come out of nowhere. I mean, we're always witnessing. I'm talking more about overt witnessing now, okay? But he also says, don't be like a snake. In other ways, you need to be as harmless as a dove as you do it. Be opportunistic, but be gentle and humble about it, right? It's a beautiful metaphor that he uses here. Be opportunistic, be ready. That's what Peter said, remember? Be ready, you know? And Paul says that to young Timothy, be ready in season and out of season, right? So we need to be ready. And I've been surprised by people, and I'm always surprised at the amount of influence I'm exerting on other people, and I'm not even meaning to. Okay, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. All right, so let's get to every day we're going to have what's called rapid fire. And you have the list there, and you're supposed to fill them out. Remember, bring a pen or a pencil every time you come. So here they are. So what do you need to do? Witnesses. Build friendships and trust. That's what they do. They build them. They work faithfully. They agree wisely. Agree with people as much as you can. Agree with them. Don't correct them. I've had people say to me, "Oh, I can't wait for the secret rapture. I can't wait to be raptured away." At that moment, I have a decision to make that comes. Do I look at them from the lens of the law? Oh, well, there is no secret rapture. What are you talking about? Let me take you to 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. Don't you see, blah, blah, blah. Or I look at them through the lens of love because I'm trying to influence and build trust, and I say something like this: I can't wait for Jesus' second coming too. And they think you're saying the same thing. You've agreed wisely. Okay? See the difference? A time will come. A time will come when we can talk about the rapture. You're trying to build trust, friendships, correcting people and telling them in one way or another that they're wrong doesn't do that. Okay? And we love to do that. We need to listen carefully. We've talked about that. We don't argue. We need to speak boldly when the opportunity comes. And we need to pray continually for the people, and we need to help eagerly. We need to share opportunistically, like the snake. Whoops. And we need to prepare strategically. We'll have a better venue this afternoon and whatever. Now, this afternoon I'm doing the same one, so I don't expect any of you to come unless you really want to. Okay? I'll put it back in a second. So, homework. Ask God to make you an effective and winsome witness. Ask God to send someone to you for a divine appointment. And revisit this material regularly, okay? Now, I'll go back here, and while I go, whoop, what is going on? Okay, just give me a second here. I'll put this back up. Come on down there. Okay, so this year, come on. This year I started something new in my community. I had time on Thursday night, so I started playing a game called cornhole. Anyone familiar with what cornhole is? I started playing in a league playing cornhole with a group of people that I didn't know. Only one person I knew at the time. And I was playing cornhole every Thursday night, and cornhole usually lasted anywhere from 3 to 4 hours. I was with these people. There was an open bar, people were drinking, and as the night went on, they started throwing worse, and I wasn't drinking, so I ended up winning a lot. Let me put it that way, and doing very well. Anyway, I was there because I love sports. I love doing stuff like that, playing cornhole, but I was also there to try to just gain influence with people to see what could happen. And you know what? The last night of cornhole, a guy by the name Vincent came up to me and he said, "Jared, I need your help." So what's going on? He says, "I've had too much to drink. Can you drive my truck home for me?" Now, he had all his friends he had known from cornhole for years, but he asked me. And that told me right away that I had built trust with him. So he got in the truck, and I got in his truck, and then I had another friend who was sober pick me up at Vincent's house and then bring me back so I could pick up my truck and go home. But I did not once at cornhole overtly talk about Christ once to anybody. But people asked me what I did, and I told them I was a pastor, and some people say, "I'm not religious," as soon as I said that. I said, "Okay, I'm not going to spiritually jump you. It's okay. Relax." And once they realized that I was just there to be their friend, they opened up to me. They talked to me about their grandkids. They talked to me about what's going on in their lives. I met one young man who is actually leading a missionary organization around the world. He's only in his 20s. right? Met all kinds of wonderful people just by your influence. Let Christ come out. Now, let me give you a little assignment. Try to bring someone with you tomorrow, if you can. Don't force them. Just say, hey, if you enjoyed the seminar, it's really great. They're going to be talking about, here's what we're going to talk about, communication. We're going to talk about communication, and we're going to talk about it in different ways. First, we're going to talk about how we communicate, how we listen, how not to listen, how not to talk. Also going to talk about why is it that I get so upset when someone disagrees with me? Why do I get so upset at my children? I go into a conversation hoping to whatever, and it just goes sideways. Why is that? Why is it that I'm so afraid to talk to people sometimes? We're going to talk about all that stuff, and when you're done, if you come and you internalize it, you will leave this place, at least with the seed sown, that you will become a completely different communicator. That's my promise to you. All right, so I hope to see you tomorrow. God bless. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.